We've had some pretty amazing guests on the show for the past several. I mean, every show has been phenomenal as far as our guest compilation is concerned, and certainly tonight is no exception. This time we're going halfway around the world, and it is just after 3 o'clock in the morning. We've gotten him out of bed, although for him this is normal. Please welcome from Akban. This is Yossi Sheriff. How are you, sir?
Doing fine and running multiple streams because my students are asking what's with the live feed, and I'm saying just go to your Facebook page and it's there. Yeah. So
that's it.
Good.
That's the best way to go.
Good evening to you. I think. Good evening. Yeah.
as evening, yes, sir. Not as late in the evening as it is for you. So I really appreciate you getting out of bed to chat with us. What time is it there?
It's actually 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. In Israel. But like I told you, I think it's one of the good things that the army has left me with, the ability to wake up and then go back to sleep, and the ability to fall asleep anywhere, so at any time. So everything is cool, and after we finish talking, I'll just go to sleep again.
Right back.
That's
awesome.
Great. Well, you know, if you're watching and you're familiar with the word Akban, Yossi has created this pretty amazing organization where he and his senior students have been documenting these, I'm just going to call them for the sake of the conversation and we'll let it expand from there, the historical, classical kata that is associated with ninjutsu. You've been documenting this. So if you are ever online and you are, let's say you're inclined to look up a technique and you did a Google search for it, chances are more than likely you're going to come across an Akban video of a breakdown of the way that Yossi interprets this technique. And I think based on our conversation earlier, Yossi, it's important to say that it's your interpretation of it because you yourself have had a pretty interesting upbringing in ninjutsu, which we would love to get into. If you would talk to us about, was this your first martial art? Give us a little bit of history of yourself and the martial arts and how you came to be a student of Doron Navon's, please.
Yeah, so I'll start chronologically, but do it fast because it's always boring to hear. My friend was learning judo with Doron Navon because Doron Navon is a fourth dan Kodokan judo player, and he was a member of the Israeli Olympic team. So he's a proficient judoka. And I heard of him that he teaches ninjutsu. And when I was 13 and a half, I joined his dojo. And I mainly did ninjutsu. Once Doron had the habit of not giving anyone a black belt unless he does another system. So Doron sent me to do Muay Thai, which I loved, and continued doing even after I didn't have to. Okay, but most of the black belts in Doron's group, Doron sent them to do another martial art. So this was a strong Israeli group that Doron gathered. So yeah, I started doing ninjutsu and then did Muay Thai and then really did everything, which is like Krav Maga and Judo, and later on in Akban's time, BJJ. Also lived in Macau for half a year and started doing internal martial arts there. So really everything, but I don't teach any of these things. I just enjoy them, and they enriched my practice. But I teach ninjutsu, and so yeah, the ninjutsu I learned from Doron, and yeah, okay. So this is a fast answer of what has been happening to me, and I think I've been learning ninjutsu for more than 40 years. Of usually a daily training session. Usually, even when I was in the army, I always managed to do a minute or 2 minutes a day. And yes, I've been teaching, I think, 37 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like every day. I train, I teach every day, every day. So
How long were you in the Israeli army?
everybody has to do a three-year course, and I was in the army, and I was unfortunate enough to participate in the first Lebanon war, and I was very young there. And even though I did many things in the army, at the end of this war, I became a combat paramedic, and it left a big mark on me and influenced many things. And I think it made me a softer person and a more understanding person. And I understood what are the limits of my martial art immediately. At the first time I got shot at and I had to do something with it, I understood what are the limits of a tsuki punch. Okay, it's just a tsuki punch. And I think it is very good that it gave me this perspective. So maybe that's a long answer for how long I was in the army. I think some parts of me are still in the army. And again, I'm close to 60 years old. So that's a long time ago. And I still carry these experiences with me. Most of them I would give up easily, but I cannot. Okay.
Sure.
Some rough times. Yeah.
So with the different martial arts that you studied, and it sounds like you studied quite a bit, why do you think you ended up staying with ninjutsu? What is it about ninjutsu that keeps you involved, having so much exposure to these other very popular styles of martial arts?
I'm smiling. You know why? Because of one of the singers I really like the most, because of many reasons, which is Johnny Cash. And Johnny Cash has a song that's the theme of is a boy named Sue. Okay, the father called the boy Sue, which is maybe a pig. Okay, just to make the boy's life hard. And this is what happened to me, because you cannot imagine how many times people, because Akban, it's a brand, okay, and it's only in YouTube we have 25 million views, and on all the platforms together, I counted it before this meeting just to understand what is happening with the GIFs and everything. It's like 67 million views, okay?
Wow.
So people ask me, why do you, four-letter word, F yourself by belonging to ninjutsu? Because some people think that ninjutsu is a hoax or fraud or something like this. And I said, this is a Johnny Cash thing, okay? That's my family name. That's the family name I grew up into. And let's redeem, and I'm saying let's, the three of us, or maybe all the people that are watching, let's redeem this family name, okay? Because yes, some people that are maybe not the best practitioners really outputted a lot of resources. Okay, so that's not good, but we have a lot of fantastic practitioners in Bujinkan, and I can name people, okay, because I'm not competing with Bujinkan. I am the custodian, the guardian of Bujinkan syllabus. One perspective, not all the perspectives, one perspective, and I say to all people, I will give you my knowledge, my software knowledge, everything that I know how to make a semantic wiki, because it's a logical wiki, just to redeem the name of our ninjutsu. Okay, so of course, yes, ninjutsu is blessed with fantastic headmasters, but he's like, I don't understand a lot of the things he does technically. You understand? It's such a high level. We need some translation, and the translation is guys like me. I'm just an instructor, a third generation instructor. My teacher, Doron Avon, was Hatsumi's personal student. He was the first non-Japanese shidoshi in Japan. Doron Avon and Danny Waxman were, and so I'm third tier, okay, below Hatsumi, and people need our translation, and there are many perspectives, and this is what I do. Okay, so I think this is extremely important. Yeah, that I know a lot of systems and I did a lot of good things with these systems, but hey, my family name is Sue, yeah, and or my personal name is Sue. You understand? Okay, so
I do.
thank you, John. Thank you, Johnny Cash.
Thank you, Johnny Cash. That's
That's
what a
great.
great answer. With ninjutsu and all the other styles that you've trained, right? You're talking about, holding ninjutsu up, and showing the world what it is and what it can be. Have you pulled any of the training methodologies from your judo, from your Muay Thai, from your jiu-jitsu? I see some Akban videos where guys are sparring and they're warming up, and that's not something you see in every ninjutsu dojo.
Okay. So I want to unpack your questions.
Yeah.
First of all, when Doron Avon went to Japan and came back, there was sparring in each and every Hatsumi session. That's it. Okay. So that's the first thing. Sparring inside ninjutsu lessons was a regular and daily thing in all of Doron's group. And in Japan, you can look at the first Budo Taijutsu book of Hatsumi. He is working there with boxing gloves. He wears a kendo do, okay, just for punching purposes. So everything was sparring oriented, even in ninjutsu. At some time, Hatsumi advanced, okay? I call it Hatsumi advanced. For me, when I was 45, many years ago, I stopped doing randori not because I advanced, because I got old, okay? And it just got old. But so that's the first thing. And then I want to answer what you said about methodology. I'm a board certified physical therapist, and in Israel there is a licensing thing that concerns everything physical, yoga instructors and martial artists. And I did the whole 4 tiers of this licensing, and I'm a national martial art teacher. Okay, so that's the level. It says nothing. Okay, it's just I had enough patience to go through all this stuff, and I don't use other systems methodology because I mean, at least the 3 of us, because I don't know how many people will be watching this in the future, have a unique problem in ninjutsu, which is also a unique opportunity. And what is the problem? We have a lot of ancient DNA. It's just like the Jurassic Park. A ninjutsu kata is a DNA of a dinosaur. It is not a dinosaur. To make this dinosaur live again, some intervention, and I say a scientific intervention, is needed. And this is what I learned, and this is what I teach. I try to take this ancient DNA and make it alive again in our life. And there are many problems, hindrance, okay, to this process. First problem is, I'm just a nice Jewish guy. So, okay, maybe not so nice, okay, but I don't have the genetics, I don't have the mindset, I don't have the body of somebody who grew up in Japan 500 years ago. So that's the first thing, okay? It's not the same genetics, not the same body, and it's detrimental to me. And then there are things that I encounter that this Japanese guy 500 years ago never encountered. First of all, the amount of variability in martial art, the power multipliers, and I use this word a lot, which is weapons. The power multipliers that rule everything, that's something new. And we have to integrate this new into the old just to make the DNA alive again. Okay, so of course I tried, maybe I succeeded, to develop a training methodology. I called it the methodical pyramid, and everybody in Akban, all the instructors in Akban learn this methodology. Of course, there is no business model. Everything is online for free. You just Google the methodical pyramid Akban, you get the methodical pyramid Akban. I wrote it when I was younger, like in 1991 or something like this, okay? And this is how we integrate the new into the old and just, I don't know, resuscitate these dinosaurs, because some of these dinosaurs are fantastic, okay? Some of the katas of ninjutsu just are a treasure house of combat knowledge. But you have to put in the work, okay? So maybe that's a long question about methodology, but we got into good place with it, okay? Because
No,
Absolutely.
it's a great topic to discuss because, as Mr. Hayes followed, this is my interpretation of what I've learned based on the history that I know and how I see it has come to be important, in our current culture. And that he basically, I don't want to say did the same thing, but he too was looking at how do we take these principles from the past and apply them to what we would experience on an everyday Western culturalized stress-induced situation, whether it be physical or non-physical. And I agree with you that this historical ninjutsu is a dinosaur, and while it is awesome to watch and see how this dinosaur moved, we can't help but to think to ourselves, how is this applicable to me now? And I think that's what Mr. Hayes and yourself have done, a really good job at interpreting and trying to flush out what the important pieces are while still respecting, as you put it, the dinosaur. So, kudos to you and the efforts that you've put in, because they've certainly gone a long way. And it's good to have these types of conversations with someone, has had a history like you've had, because there are a lot of new practitioners, I'm sure, in both, the Akban system or the methodology of Akban and Toshindo, to where new students only see it a certain way without having known how it got to be this, current day and age way of looking at physical self-defense.
I tell you one problem. At least there are many, many problems. Some of the kata were preserved and transferred through the generations, just written. You understand how dangerous that is? That is actually a DNA, okay? There were no video files, okay? So it's just written, and you look at the scrolls, okay, of Kotoryu, and you see a painting. Somebody does Hoko no Kamae like this, okay? So, and you read the Japanese, and it says lift both your arms to do Hoko no Kamae. So, okay, Hatsumi and Kanemura sensei and Manaka sensei and all the systems coming from in the Takamatsude, they do the Hoko no Kamae like this. But you see the scroll, it's like this. So how should we do Hoko no Kamae? That's a problem, because the Tangeki no Kata, okay, is a pivot, a really, really important kata. And how do you do it? Because if you do like this, well, it's like Hoko no Kamae is Muay Thai. Okay, and if you do like this, then Hoko no Kamae is something really strange. How do you understand it? And there is a lot of trial and error here, okay? I welcome it in my practice, this trial and error, okay? How do you actually do a Jordan UK? What are the Kyusho that we have to research it? And we did a lot of research on a lot of small things, okay? Because they interest us so much. So the Kyusho, what are the Kyusho? So I used my medical background to really redraw again the map of the pressure points and take out of the maps everything that says energy points, okay? And leave inside only things that I said, okay, anatomically, I know why this is a pressure point. And we did it with many things. And I tell you one thing, Scott, some of the kata, after researching a lot, look now to me. My students will correct me in few generations. Pretty stupid, you understand? So even after we resuscitated this DNA, we look at some of the katas and say, well, this is not the best kata there is. And I just want you to understand the numbers. More than 400 katas, with some of them with 10 registered variations. We have been documenting so far in 1,500 videos about 11,000 techniques. Not all of them are kata. Some of them are fragments of kata. And we only encompassed 1/3 of the Takamatsu Den syllabus. Okay, so I will not finish it in my lifetime, this project of documenting Takamatsu Den kata. But I don't mind because I really like the process. But
Sure.
we are 2/3 far distance, okay, from documenting Takamatsu Den kata. 2/3. We have 2/3 to go. So everybody must join and do and give their perspectives, okay, and not do the same thing again, because there are so many interpretations to how to do the shikan ken, okay, and I see video, should the finger be like this and like this? Yeah, it's important, but not too important. Let's take Shiokaze no kata, okay? Let's take an obscure kata and really research it and understand why did people years ago thought it's so important that they are going to write it down and teach it to their students. They were not stupid people. Why did they do it? Let's understand. And it's part archaeology, part Indiana Jones, part mystical mystery tour. Okay, it's fantastic, and we, at least three of us that are talking to each other, we're the custodian of this fantastic system. And what Stephen Hayes did for the ninjutsu, I think, Scott, is much bigger than what you just described. Because if it weren't for Stephen Hayes and the book that really ignited Menachem Golan, his movie director, who directed the first American Ninja movies, then Hatsumi would have now 100 students instead of 100,000 students, okay? And maybe I would not be learning ninjutsu because I wouldn't know about ninjutsu. So Stephen Hayes just opened the gate and pointed his very important finger on Hatsumi's figure and told everybody, look, this is something unbelievable. This guy is like a god of fighting, okay? And Stephen Hayes did it, and he was the first to do it. And there was a gap of many years, and then everybody caught on to this idea that there is something here worth learning.